Can we talk about an interview this morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'm here in Alabama, which I'm having the time of my life. Come to think of it, it was a 14-hour drive, but the people were so welcoming. I mean, it was just overwhelming, the treatment I mean, true Southern hospitality is what I received. I'm on my last day of this fantastic event, showing my artwork and my books, and many homeschool parents have came to this event, and which, you know, I've always been aware that there are parents that are aware that when they surrender their kids from 9 to 3 to public school systems, that they are also surrendering their kids' education, and many times these kids are brainwashed. But anyway, I've been preaching about how we cannot go forward as American citizens carrying this baggage of racial epitaphs that has happened in the past, and which we will never get to cleaning up the planet, going to Venus, Mars, because we're so hung up on living a lie, defending it with all our hearts, and not moving on. Seem like the human spirit doesn't want to update its computer. It's out to, especially in America, self-mutilate. The conditions that you see in mental hospitals are the same conditions that many of us plagued with, our politicians, our people, our race baiters. I was raised with an education system in Harlem, New York, that encouraged me to stop painting for 15 years. And I began to think and act like a victim, which led to me being qualified to be here defending the South, the Confederate flag, its customs, because I came out of Harlem with a chip on my shoulder, and also I felt like a victim, act like a victim. Became a drug dealer, a drug addict. Went to jail for 6 months. And my moral compass was lost. I am very fortunate that God led me out of the valley of the shadow of death, and I was able to redeem myself and my artistic abilities. And I praise God that thank you, because so many of my fellow Harlem, Black Panther friends, associates are in jail, are dead, crippled with all types of medications such as methadone and all other types of, or went to Vietnam, and I'm a lucky man. So with that said, I'm hoping that as an artist, I'm able to provoke thought, educate, and if I can't provoke thought in you, I hope I piss you off. This is from Uncle Gregory, and if you feel uncomfortable with calling me Uncle Gregory, that's your problem.
Okay.
As you can see from my banner, which is called POP, Point of Purchase, I have two of my personal life heroes, Nathan Bedford Forrest and Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson was a religious man that felt if God talked to him, no government or nothing could stop him, to the point that he broke Virginia law and took possession of a Presbyterian church and gathered young blacks, locked the door once a week or whenever the schedule was. I'm not sure about the scheduling. And he would teach them how to read and write and understand the Bible. And he was so determined to make sure this work continues. After he was made general, went up north to start whipping the North's butt. He paid people to guard, to make sure no one goes behind his back, to close this church. He was a determined, defiant, detail-orientated, God-fearing man. And I just respect somebody in such a primitive age of politics during that time for God to talk to him, and he feared no man. Now, my second hero is Nathan Bedford Forrest. This man I love because he's a businessman. He didn't come to Christianity until later on in life. But during the time he wasn't a follower of Jesus Christ or God, he treated his slaves the best they possibly can. Now, you got to remember, he's a businessman. You don't buy a new Cadillac and put it in a dirt car race the next day. You take care of your property. You make sure it's well oiled, well maintained, so it can serve you well. Nathan, at the beginning of the war, volunteered his services. He went in as a private, but his influence got him all the way to a general, which I was quite impressed with that. And he confronted his slaves that he owned. He used to be a slave dealer too. If you want to, you can volunteer and follow me. I'm going to fight for the South. And 45 plus slaves of that time of Nathan Bedford Forrest volunteered to go to war with him. Now, Nathan is so fascinating. His strategy, he never went to VMI, he never went to West Point, but he whipped and outfoxed those who did. And I can understand generals and lieutenants that have went to VMI and went to West Point to be kind of, pissed off at him, degrading their intelligence. I mean, his military genius was so fascinating. Everybody knows about the Desert Fox, Ramo, that fought for the Nazis. Came here before World War II and studied Nathan Bedford Forrest's battle strategy. That's remarkable. And took it back, of course, to Germany and used it in the desert wars that he tricked Allied forces in many different ways using Nathan Bedford Forrest's tactics. Nathan Bedford Forrest, after the war, surrendered peaceably. And what was so remarkable, he took 45 Afro-American slaves to war with him. Oh, I beg to be excused. I said Afro. A lot of my black brothers say that's a hairdo. African Americans. Not hairdos. But anyway, he freed them a year and a half before the end of the war, and he made 7 of them, before he freed them, his personal bodyguards. Now, wait a minute. 7 of these brothers were so well trusted, he surrounded himself with 7, I am sure, outstanding, well-built, well-healthy blacks to guard his back. And personally, I'm a Yankee. I probably would have loved Master Forrest myself if he had treated me well, as I read in my history books that he treated his slaves well. But Master Forrest had 27 horses shot out from underneath him. I would have to think very hard to be his personal bodyguard with that many horses shot out from underneath.
Got to.
But not only that, Can you imagine these 45 slaves with the Union Army so close? They could have ran to the other side and said, I want to join you. Do you know Master Forrest used black slaves as spies? Oh, please forgive me if I morphed into calling him Master Forrest. But I'm showing a great respect for what my ancestors respected. And with that said, Master Forrest is one of the greatest strategists in that period of time of history. But I am so upset also, this Robert Shaw, Union general, they made a movie called Glory. What a funny name for a disastrous demonstration of leadership. Disastrous. He took hordes of black soldiers, Union black soldiers, to a Fort Wagner, South Carolina, I believe. And he lost 378 black soldiers attacking a fort. And in that fort, only 12 Confederates died. Now, and they call that glory? I call that cannon fodder. It was a disgraced demonstration of leadership that Hollywood has portrayed on us. Now, with that said, I'm just saying that I hope that you understand me, Greg Newson, who markets himself as Uncle Gregory, my job from heaven above, because no one in my community, no one else has encouraged me to do this, is determined to provoke thought or piss you off. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sound like your allergies acting up.
Yes, it is. It runs in my blood, my family's bloodline, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I appreciate that it hasn't killed me.
You got that right. I appreciate all the work you've done too. I love these paintings. Are you going up to Tunnel Hill next week?
No, where's that at? I've heard about that.
That's in Georgia.
I would love to, but I don't think I got... No, next week I gotta be at my first art show in New York State.
Oh, man.
So, I've never presented the Confederate story in that form, so let me see what happens.
Got good luck on it.
Make sure you take a, the public radio station, television station is doing a documentary on me, HK, and Anthony Harvey. It's coming out January 2. And you're on my email list, so you'll be notified.
Yes, sir, I will. I definitely listen to it.
No, it's going to be on television.
Oh, television, okay.
But I'll let you know.